Two people were out on the ocean in a boat. One of them began drilling a hole in the bottom of the boat. And the other, aghast, said, "What are you doing? Stop drilling." The first person replied, "It's all right. I'm only drilling on my side." It's part of our social conditioning that we often go about taking care of our own interests without considering, or worse, without caring about the very real impact we have on others, on other people, other creatures, the ecosystem of this planet that we share. We can be so oblivious. The big existential and spiritual questions: who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Can sound a bit self-centered. And yet it is essential to know ourselves, to develop a sense of self and identity. But I posit it is impossible to do that, to know yourself in a vacuum. That, I believe, is the role of religious community. To provide people a chance to listen for and to grow into the calling of their own lives. But if the only question we ask is, "Who am I?" we risk believing that I, am at the very center of the universe. But we are no longer teenagers. The exploration of the self, of ego, has been at the center of much of our culture. And Unitarian Universalism, at the radical edge of liberal religion, has often been deeply immersed in this culture of individualism. Individualism has become the de facto orthodoxy of our time, which presents a special challenge for religious liberals. We pride ourselves on questioning orthodoxy, but to challenge the orthodoxy of individualism is to challenge ourselves. Religion, especially liberal religion, needs to play that countercultural role. Douglas Steere, a Quaker teacher, once wrote, "The ancient question, 'Who am I?' inevitably leads to a deeper one. Whose am I? Because there is no identity outside of relationship. You can't be a person by yourself," Steere says. To ask, "Whose am I?" is to extend the question far beyond the little self-absorbed self and wonder, who needs you? Who loves you? To whom are you accountable? Whose life is altered by your choices? And with whose life, whose lives, is your own all bound up inextricably in obvious or invisible ways, like the invisible threads that we were talking about earlier. And so we ask today, whose are we? To whom do we belong? In Unitarian Universalism, covenant calls us into chosen belonging. Not because we share a creed, that's not who we are, but because we commit to walking together, to journeying together. We're not held together by uniformity of belief, but by promises. Promises to show up for one another, to speak truth with love, and to hold one another accountable, and to stay in relationship even when it is hard, and to come back over and over. To belong is not only to be comforted, it is to be accountable. Belonging makes a claim on us. How does that feel? Belonging asks us to bring our best selves forward, to take responsibility for how we affect one another, to notice when someone is missing or struggling, to send cards of caring, to check in when you notice a change in their behavior, in their ability, to show up for one another in all the ways that we can because we are accountable, and keep showing up, even when the work is not easy, to move beyond our comfort zone, to make space for another, to grow. This is the promise that we make in community, is that we will forever be changed and changing and growing. I was recently part of a leadership workshop for the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association, where we began with a check-in question: who are your people? At first it seemed simple. One person spoke of their children and spouse, another named their work colleagues. Then someone shared the ancestry that they discovered through DNA testing of the Yoruba and Zulu people who lived in their bones and in the generational trauma that they were carrying. When it was my turn, I told them about you. Not you specifically, but you, the people in congregations I have served. I told them how you are activists. You are community leaders and helpers and writers and pilgrims, environmentalists. I told them how you show up and how you care for one another. I beamed with pride and love because you are mine and I am yours. Whose are we? We may or may not claim our family of origin. Many have complex histories. But most of us belong to a family, whether by birth or by choice. And this spiritual community, this congregation, is something that we are here for by choice. This is chosen. We are not just individuals gathered in a room, we are part of something larger. This congregation's mission statement says that First You exists to kindle the light within, to inspire courage for nurturing the web of life and the creation of a just and compassionate world. Oh, I'm looking forward to picking that apart with you this year. All the things we can do with that mission statement and what you have been doing. That mission tells us that who we are already here and who we are to become has an obligation to those who are not yet here, to those who may be seeking, and those who may never set foot in this building, but whose lives are shaped by the justice that we work to create in the world. What might that ask of us? How do we welcome and adapt for those who are not yet among us or who may never be? How do we prepare for the unknown? As we begin this new program year and this new shared ministry, we are called to renew this covenant of who we are, whose we are, how we show up for and with one another. Whose are we? We are companions on a spiritual journey. We are also accountable to our neighbors, to this city, to the land and the waters and the people of the Algonquin Anishinaabe territory on which we gather, and to the future, to the children here today and those yet to come, those who will inherit what we are building, what we have yet to dream, and that which we cannot even dream, for it is theirs to dream and to build. A few years ago, I participated in a ministerial retreat where we engaged in a spiritual practice around this very question. We were paired off, and one person simply asked, "Whose are you?" And we answered whatever came to mind, and then gently the questioner said, "Blessed be," and then asked again, "Whose are you?" And again, and again. As we deepened into the layers of that very complex question, into the roots of our answers, the roots of our true understanding of belonging. At first, I named my family, and then my community, and then I spoke of my calling, that I belong to the ministry of Unitarian Universalism. I belong to my colleagues, my tribe of people who understand my life in a way that no one else can other than a colleague minister, and with whom I also have a covenantal agreement of mutual support, mutual challenge, and mutual care. I belong to those who came before, those brave female ministers who made it possible for me to be standing right here in front of you. I spoke of my ancestors, both biological and otherwise, wise people, brave people who toiled to create change in the world, because they must, and so must we. Each answer, each time we came around again, "Whose are you? Blessed be," and "Whose are you?" It got more deeper and more personal. I am accountable to all those who will come after, living in the world that we are creating today for tomorrow. I belong to humanity. I belong to the body of the earth. I belong to the whales and the dolphins and the countless creatures whose lives I affect by my consumer choices. I belong to the spirit of life and love. I belong to God, and by God I mean a larger love that holds us all, a creative force that needs our gifts in order to continue to evolve and to bring love and life and justice and more creation into the world. To this I belong. To this I am accountable. By the end of this exercise, I was deeply moved. It was a simple but powerful question. Whose are you? Whose are you? Gently yet relentlessly, this question asked me to bear witness to the power of relationships and how relationships lay claim to my heart and my life, and they shape and bless me with interconnectedness to all life. belonging, and a sense of purpose beyond anything I had imagined. Until I spoke aloud all of these claims on me, I had no idea how alone I thought I was. It was astonishing. It was liberating. Margaret Wheatley once wrote, "Very often the price of belonging to a community is to forfeit one's individual autonomy. We choose a life lived alone in order for it to be our life. We give up the meaningful life that can only be discovered in relationship with others for a meaningless life that at least we think is ours. And we end up in a deep and vacant place, overwhelmed by loneliness and the emptiness of life." This epidemic of loneliness, this culture of individualism that we live in has produced many of the ills that we see today. But here in this community, we can choose differently. We are choosing to be here, after all. We can remember that we are not just from somewhere, we are going somewhere together. We are linked to our ancestors and indebted to those who came before, and beholden to imagine a better future for those yet to come. And as Wendell Berry's poem reminded us as I began, we clasp the hands of those that go before us and the hands of those who come after us, and the larger circle of all creatures. With love as our guide, may we build a world where all will know welcome and belonging, where all are ours and we are theirs, where no one drills a hole in their side of the boat, because we know we are, all of us, in the same boat. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.